Hi, I'm Abubakar, and in this video, we'll be looking at how to leverage the power of GitLab Duo as a DevOps or infrastructure engineer. Oftentimes, when AI is discussed, it's usually looked from the perspective of software developers or software engineers and how AI powers their workflows. But as a DevOps or cloud or infrastructure engineer, you are also seek ways to make your work more efficient and faster. Now, this can be in creating new configurations for your infrastructure, containerizing some applications, or maybe some legacy application, or maybe basically understanding some of the logs or issues that are happening in your CI workflow. In this video, we'll be containerizing a legacy application written in PHP. Some of the features we'll be leveraging is using GitLab Duo Chat, code suggestions, root cause analysis, and among a couple of others. Let's look at how you can make sure you're ready for GitLab Duo code suggestions. Now, let me switch to Visual Studio Code, which is the IDE I'll be using for in this demo. To make sure that your application is enabled for the right languages that you are using, you can go to your Visual Studio Code settings, extensions. Then for the GitLab workflow extension, click on settings, extension settings, and it will open this interface for you. Here, when you scroll to the GitLab Duo Code suggestion settings for enabled supported languages, you can see the list of languages that are officially supported. And you can toggle either to enable or disable any of this. But then if there are languages that you want but are not supported in this list, you can still add them, though they might not behave as expected, or they might behave in different ways because they are not officially supported. So you can add languages here by the IDs of the language. How do you get this ID? If you go to our documentation for code suggestions, I'll add this link in the description of this video. If you go to this documentation page, you see the section for supported extensions and languages, and it will show you the supported languages that GitLab Duo supports, the languages Duo support for each of the IDEs we have. For the Web IDE, we have for VS Code, JetBrains, Visual Studio, NeoVim, and some other. You can see all the languages that are supported and if they require any extensions for them to be supported. Then if you want to add support for more languages, that is languages that are not so available by default, you need the identifier of the language. Make sure you have the extension installed in VS Code or your language. In this case, I'm using VS Code. We also have for JetBrains. Then you visit this link to get the identifier of the specific language you want to use. So let me open this page. So we have a number of the languages. Internally, GitLab uses this language. It's a part of the language server that we are using. It uses these identifiers to be able to support those specific languages that you add that are not officially supported. So there are different languages. For example, common ones might be Git, Makefile, SQL, Dockerfile. Some of these are already officially supported, but if you want more things to be supported, you can add them. In my VS Code, I've already added additional support for languages like HTML, JSON, Makefile, YAML, and Dockerfile. Now, in this video, I added Dockerfile here because part of this video is containerizing a legacy application. So I want to make sure that GitLab Duo is able to provide some form of support for that. It might not be full-fledged, but some form of support for it when I'm writing the Docker files, or maybe for some suggestions around it. Now, let's look at what my application looks like. Now, for this, we are looking at this PHP application. For this demo, it was created using GitLab Duo. And I made sure it's working. Now, what the application basically does, it receives a base64 encoded JSON file, maybe a list, maybe a list of names or a list of things. Then you send it to it. You send a JSON file with a list of things that you want to convert to Excel. Then it returns to you an Excel sheet. Basically, it's a JSON to sheet service. You send it a list of things, a JSON array of things you want in an Excel sheet, and it returns the Excel sheet to you. If you access it through a browser, it just automatically downloads the Excel sheet, formatting the list in the Excel sheet. If you are using any UMS, you have to get the binary and create the file as necessary. So all it does is basically, okay, it receives a data. It uses the data parameter to receive the base64 string here. Then it decodes it into JSON. It decodes it into this variable, and it JSON decodes it because it's a JSON array that will have been encrypted. Then it uses the data from the JSON array to create an Excel sheet. And basically, it goes through each row in your JSON array and creates a record, a row in the corresponding Excel sheet. And at the end of the day, it sends the Excel file to your browser for download. Basically, that is what it does. This is an example of a legacy, something that will be quite common in a corporate environment or a place where they have legacy systems. Now, what we are going to do here is to package this application into a container and into an image, and so that we can use it to probably deploy it to Kubernetes cluster or a Docker Swarm or whichever environments that we want. Now, okay, but the assumption here is probably I'm new to containerization since you're coming from a legacy environment, or I have experience with containerization, but I need GitLab Duo to help me make it faster and more efficient, so I don't have to spend a lot of time going through things. Okay, the next thing I will do is to open GitLab Duo Chat. You can open it from the left panel of VS Code. And okay, how do I get started? Let me simply highlight the whole of my application here and create a Docker file for this. Create a Docker file to package this application into a container image. Let me try this first prompt and see if it will give me a desirable result. Okay, interesting. Let's see. It's generating. Okay, nice. Let me extend this to see what it gives us. Oh, interesting. So it's first it's saying let's use first it's showing us the container image is going to base our build on, which is PHP 8.1. Then some of the package that needs to be added. Then it's all also including some extensions, and it's setting our work directory, copying the composer.json file that we need, and also copying our files and so on. Interesting. Let's copy this and paste. Then let me save the file and name it Dockerfile. Interesting. Okay, but it's part of the thing is that it's copying is composer.json. We don't have the composer.json file. Let's create one by, let me open terminal. Then I think one of the package that let's see the package that we're using. The only package we are using is PHP spreadsheet. Let me add it with, let's see, require. So let's use Composer to require for PHP. We use Composer Package Manager to require the package that we want. Voila. And then let's also make sure we know the version of PHP we are using. PHP-v. Okay, 8.3.7. So let's check the Docker file that was created. Oh, there's a mistake in the Docker file. Let me rename it to Docker file. Okay, Duo suggested for us 3.1. Let me change it to 3.3 to 8.3 to make sure we are using the right image and we don't have conflict in our when our container image is being built. Docker file. And interesting, the next thing we'll do is to, yeah, this is good. Now let's make sure our application is stored online on GitLab. Let's initiate Git and push our application. But first, let me create a project for it on GitLab. Let me go to gitlab.com and let me store it in this group, playground, and my name, Abubakar, and let me store it here. Create a new project and blank project. Let's name it just JSON to sheet. Now I'll make it public, and since I have my files already, create project. Okay, so we have an existing file, so I can use this since it's going to initialize our repository, add the remote, and push. So let's let me switch back to Visual Studio Code, and that way I'm sure that I'm pushing my application and I'm making sure any changes I'm creating is being pushed online. Now, awesome. So if we have our file here, I'll refresh to my code is pushed. Oh, no CI build. Let me add a CI file. So I'll ask GitLab Duo Chat to help me create this GitLab CI file. So basically, create GitLab CI file to build a container image and push it to the GitLab container registry. Okay. Oh, awesome. Let's see. Interesting. It's building. It's okay. That's created my registry file. Let me copy it and review the file. So basically, let me copy, paste here. Let's see. Okay. Build. Okay. This is going to build it. This is going to run some tests. Okay, we don't have any test written for application yet, and this is going to push it to a GitLab registry. Awesome, as a deployment for now. Okay, awesome. I think this is good. So let me save the file as .gitlab gitlab-ci.yml file. Okay, now let me push git add git commit -m add gitlab-ci file, then git push. Awesome. So we should have a CI job starting any moment now. Voila. So we'll have a CI pipeline with 3 jobs. So let's see, the first job is running. Awesome. Our job has failed, basically. So let's use another feature of GitLab Duo to understand what exactly has gone wrong. Now that feature, when a job fails, you want to understand the root cause of the issue. So GitLab Duo provides the root cause analysis. It checks our job log and tells us exactly what's the problem and offers solutions that we can use to fix the issue. So let's troubleshoot. Use this troubleshoot button, or if you have the chat window open, /troubleshoot. This will then go through your job log and analyze the issue, then tell you what exactly is the problem. Okay, it's generating and it's going to provide us with suggestions on how to fix our issue. Awesome. So I think based on some of the things I've read here, basically, we are copying a file. Let me scroll up. The root cause, the build process failed on step 16. Dockerfile, copy failed, file not found in build context. So the error indicates that the Dockerfile is trying to copy a file named in nginx.conf. Okay, and it's missing. We did not create an nginx.conf file, so we don't have it here. So it's suggesting, it's like, okay, the root causes for this failure is likely one of the following. It's missing in project directory, it's present but in a different location, okay, or it has been added to .ignore, but we know it's missing. Now, okay, what's the example fix? Ensure the nginx exists, then add this. But if it doesn't, if you don't have the nginx file and need to create one, here is a basic example. Yeah, let's use the example it's giving us. So we add it to nginx.conf. So if we come here, let's create a file, nginx.conf, and we paste, okay, the basic nginx configurations and so on. So let's save and git add git commit -m add nginx.conf and git push. Let's push once more. Now let's go back to GitLab to check. Oh, okay, now we've added the file that was asked for. Let's now see if our job will run. Okay, yeah, while our GitLab CI runs, let's test our application. Let's build the container image to be sure that it works. So we have our Docker file. Next thing we'll do is say docker build -t JSON to sheet and dots. So let's build. Now we're building. This will provide us an opportunity to see if our container actually works, or the Docker file GitLab has created for us works. It's copying. Wow, it actually built our application. So let's run the application. Let's test it and see. Let's see docker run -p. Let's use port 8080 to port 80 on the instance, and my container name is JSON to sheet. Voila. Okay, it tried to run, but then it encountered an issue. Could not open error log file. What could be the problem? Okay, instead of me to Google, this is definitely a file permission issue. I can ask Duo Chat what's the problem and how I can fix it. Can you make sense of this error? Thanks for a bit. Let's see. What was the problem? Okay, the error occurs when Nginx doesn't have the necessary permissions to write its log file. Okay, this is likely because we are running Nginx as a non-root user for security reasons, but the log directly is still owned by root or has incorrect permission. So how do we fix it? Create the Nginx log directory explicitly and change the ownership. Okay, and it also provides an example of the things we are going to add to our Docker file to make sure that we have the necessary permissions. Now let's go to Dockerfile and what do we need to add? Okay, let's copy this file and okay, it seems we already have them here. var lib nginx logs. Okay, var lib nginx. So we already have them here. Then also make sure your nginx configuration is configured to use the log directory. Okay, we might not have this, so let's review this, and we don't. So let's copy this and put it here. So we are setting our error log and our access log to make sure they are using the directories that we've defined in our Docker file. Now let's save this, and we need to build our container image again. Building. Then okay, it has built. Let's run and see. It failed again. var lib nginx logs. Let's review our nginx configuration and maybe help out GitLab Duo a bit here. So let's change this to var log, the default log directory of the system. Then change this to var log nginx for access log. And then we make sure they exist. Or what if I tell the GitLab Duo Chat to reconsider its last suggestion but with this directory instead? Okay, can you refactor your last suggestions but using the directory instead? Let's see what it will do. Okay, it's generating its response, and yeah, it's definitely did it. So instead of you having to overthink here, because normally logs are stored in /var/log, so that is why I'm changing it to that. So let's change this. Let's go to Dockerfile. So I think let me paste this and see. And let me remove this line since var lib nginx. Okay, and for this one, let me save. For this one, let's make sure we have the correct things here, and let's save. Now I'll need to build again. But awesome, that's built. Now let's run this. Yeah, our application is running. Now let's test out our application. Let me go to the browser and say localhost port 8080. Oh, file not found. Okay, couldn't find our file. Let's check the logs. What could be the problem? And it's saying 404. Let's investigate within our application. Where is it sending our file to? The work directory is /var/www.html, and let's see, copy from builder /var/www.html. Let's check what Nginx is looking at. So if we come to Nginx, what directory is it? Okay, /var/www/html. Oh, okay. It's not okay. It's handling for index.php. Then what could be the problem? var www.html. If we come to our file, that's var www.html. Okay. Let's see. We try /index.php. Does it work? No, it doesn't. Let me go back. Probably I'm missing something. Let's review it again carefully. So everything was copied into here, and when we come here, working directory is this, and copy application files from builder. Then copy nginx.conf to here, and okay. Then let's review this carefully also. Then we have /var/www/html. Okay, this is showing you root. Okay, FPM is handling all index.php requests. Okay. Let's ask Duo. We are getting a 404 error when running the application. What would we have gotten wrong? Interesting. Okay, awesome. So now let's see if 404 when running your application could be due to several reasons. Here are some potential. Incorrect document root. Ensure the Nginx configuration points to the correct document. Check your Nginx conf. The root directive should point to the public directory of your application. Example this: root var www.html, root var www.html. Okay, this is public. We are not using public HTML because our files in the Docker file is being added to var www.html. Okay, now missed index file. We have index.php and index.htm. I think we have this correct, but let me fix it. Then ensure it's running and Nginx is correctly configured to pass the PHP request to it. Okay, let's see. In case we missed anything, check the PHP FPM location. This index. Okay, include this, and script file name this. Might be missing a line. Let's copy it and replace to see if that fixes the issue. And let's see, ensure has the read permissions for your application files. Okay. Let's make sure this. Most likely this might be the issue. So let's see. Let's go to Dockerfile. I think we have the right permissions, but I'm not sure. So here, our files are stored in chown. Okay, it's saying we should do chown -r app user /var www.html. Okay, it's here already. And also, we should do chmod 755 for we should check the permissions for this. We don't have that here. So let's copy this and paste it. Okay. I think so. Let's save and see if the suggestion provided by GitLab Duo helps us fix the issue. Now, let me cancel this and rebuild. Rebuild and run the application. Let's try it again. And yeah, okay. We have a JSON file that I have encoded in base64. It's just name column and company column, my name, GitLab, etc. So let's refresh this. Oh, it works. Nice. Now let's see the contents of our file. Okay, it's opening. Voila. See, Abubakar, GitLab, join GitLab. So let's decode our base64 string to see the content. Base64 decode. And agree. Once I paste this in, you see it shows us this is exactly what we have. This is the JSON file. And anytime you visit the file, it will give you the Excel sheet for it. Now let's change this to let me add another file, another text to this, and let's see, add 2 more rows. We have Fatima, we have Michael. It's the name of my colleagues. So Michael, and encode. So if I copy this and try to access, try it with the application. This didn't work. What could be the problem? Maybe something is Michael. But let's check our terminal. Oh, application is not running. I forgot. So let's run the application and go back and reload. Wow, it works. So let's see. Yeah, Abubakar, John, Fatima, and Michael. In summary, we were presented with a problem. You have a legacy application, just an index.php file that receives JSON data and generates an Excel sheet. We were able to create a Docker file with the help of GitLab Duo Chat. It helped us to create a Docker file. Then it also helped us to create a CI file. We tested the CI file and were able to push them to GitLab. So GitLab Duo Chat helps you to create your configuration files, create configuration to help you build your application or deploy your application. And not just that, it can also help you. You can see I didn't use Google to search throughout all of this, despite getting some errors, despite getting some issues. I didn't leave my ID except when I wanted to push to GitLab repository. So with Duo Chat, whenever you get errors while developing, you can help you to identify the errors within the context of your application and suggest fixes and solutions to the issues that you are experiencing. This will reduce the time spent researching and trying to understand what is going on, and more time is given for you to build your application or to create the configuration that is suitable for your production environment. Thank you very much, and see you in the subsequent videos. This is the first in a series of videos about how you can leverage GitLab Duo for DevOps and infrastructure work. Thank you.